Keep in mind that we're technicians, right? I'm a technician. So for me, it doesn't matter what my gut tells me. My gut doesn't know anything, frankly. My mind, my heart, it's all about the charts. And that's the only way I keep a kind of a level head in this market that is crazy, like crypto markets, stock markets. I just say, listen, well, what do the charts tell me? And that's what I go with. It's a probability factor. Okay, so crypto, Bitcoin here, you came up to the FTX pre-high right here. You consolidated, then you broke out. You're now consolidating again. To me, a major level would be this one. And if you look over here where the bull market really took off in 2021 and we had the M top here, this area right here is going to be unbelievably important right here. We're still in a bear market in crypto until we see something else. And the markets are going to freak out. I have a downside risk of about 25% further drop in the S&P 500. And then if that happens, I mean, if the S&P is dropping 25%, ask yourself, well, where does Bitcoin go during that? So I think for me, when it comes to the S&P 500, and the S&P 500 absolutely closed above that key level. But number one, you haven't confirmed it yet. And number two, for me to really be bullish, I need to know that the Fed is starting to lower rates, right? This market has been this addicted market to low rates, free money, printing money. And right now, yes, the Fed is probably only going to raise 25 basis points on February 1st, but they're not lowering it for the foreseeable future. So you can absolutely see you closed above that. Now, again, the market has a history in bear markets of getting the majority of people to become bullish and then ripping it off and taking it back to the downside. So number one, a close above is good, but it's not a confirmed breakout yet. We would need a secondary close above the high of yesterday to confirm that. Now, one close above can be a fake out. Institutions do this all the time. They lure people in, they close it above, everyone gets bullish. The real telltale signal for me is when you close above that high here. So that's one of the signals I look for. Now, keep in mind, if we close back below the line, then it resets again. So if we don't confirm before closing back below the line, then you have to start from ground zero again at that point. But right now, if we were to close today above this high, then this would be a confirmed breakout on the S&P 500. Now, keep in mind, the S&P is down about 20 points on the morning session already, so we got to watch and see how that behaves throughout the day. The other thing to point out here is look at this chart, and this is what I fear for the S&P 500. This is a chart of Alibaba, right? And what you can see here is there's this beautiful trend line, much like the S&P 500, all the way down. And then look down here. It broke out, stayed above, and then look at what ended up happening here. You ended up trading up, and then you ended up making new lows before finally coming back. So this is a classic case of getting the bulls on board and then stopping them out when you retook out this pivot low right down here before making a true bottom. So I'm more in the camp that this is what will end up happening. With that Alibaba chart, we did see new lows being made before the latest rally back up. So again, that's what I'm going to keep an eye on here. Number one, also keep in mind that yes, you've broken this line, but you haven't taken out the recent high right here. So that would also be something. So as of now, you would say it's continuing to make lower highs. Now, if you can break above here, so if you confirm and then really break out here, then yeah, I got to go bullish. There's no doubt about it. At that point, that would be a bullish signal to take out this range. Keep in mind that we're technicians, right? I'm a technician. So for me, it doesn't matter what my gut tells me. My gut doesn't know anything, frankly. My mind, my heart, it's all about the charts. And that's the only way I keep a kind of a level head in this market that is crazy, like crypto markets, stock markets. I just say, listen, well, what do the charts tell me? And that's what I go with. It's a probability factor. Okay, so crypto, Bitcoin here, you came up to the FTX pre-high right here. You consolidated, then you broke out. You're now consolidating again. As long as this pattern continues, there's upside to 25,000 in the near term. Having said that, that's still a powerful low pivot here and a high pivot of this. And for me, at least when I zoom out on the chart, I would still be in the camp that we're still in a bear market in crypto until we see something else. So again, 25K would be a very pivotal level. That's where I've said I would start shorting Bitcoin if it gets up there. With my members, I have a long on Bitcoin. We're still holding. That would be where I would exit that and flip it into a short. To me, a major level would be this one. And if you look over here where the bull market really took off in 2021 and we had the M top here, this area right here is going to be unbelievably important right here. So to me, kind of it's right around the 30,000 level. We start trading above the 30,000 level, then you can't deny that we've now entered into this kind of this area where we had that M top back in 2021. We've gotten back above these lows here, which was that little midpoint. That would be where I would say, okay, now to me, at least the charts are telling me that this could be a low down here that's a lasting low. So the bear case until proven otherwise, according to the charts, is still that you're still looking at 12 to 13,000 as your next downside, with a worst case kind of in that 9 to 10,000 range. So, I mean, there's two possibilities. One is a black swan event like an FTX that is bigger, a Binance. I'm not necessarily leaning in that direction. The other factor, and in fact, there's three, the other factor would be that there is some sort of regulatory kind of rollout that is very scary to crypto markets, and maybe it kills a lot of the alts. We'll have to see about that. I'm hopeful that I think regulation will be a positive for the industry, but there's always a risk, right? When you're dealing with politicians, there's always going to be a risk that something crazy comes out of it. And the last thing for me, and this is the most likely scenario if Bitcoin's going to go lower, is that it's going to be a risk-off panic, meaning that for me, I'm looking at a recession occurring in the second half of this year. The investing public will look to the Fed to bail us out with printing money and dropping interest rates. And ultimately, I think the Fed's going to say, nope, sorry, inflation's too high, and the markets are going to freak out. I have a downside risk of about 25% further drop in the S&P 500. And then if that happens, I mean, if the S&P is dropping 25%, ask yourself, well, where does Bitcoin go during that? Yeah, so I think what you're talking about is the Goldilocks scenario, where it kind of all works out perfectly and we get that sub 2% inflation and the Fed can start printing again when we get into a recession. For me, I'm kind of in the camp that I think there's going to be this kind of sticky inflation that's just above 2%, between 3 and 4%. And I think that's going to handcuff the Fed from really being able to stimulate. And it's going to put us in this longer term multi-year recessionary period where we're slightly negative on growth for a long period of time. And I think when you look at the equity markets and earnings starting to come down because of recessions, that's really where the fear is going to come in, this long-term recession without the bailout from the Fed. We just had one of the longest expansionary periods in history, right? I mean, basically, we haven't had a recession aside from the COVID panic from 2009 to 2021. So you have to look at it and, like, at some point you have above trend growth for such a long period because the Fed is stimulating. At what point do we pay the piper and have below trend growth for an extended period of time? And that's what I'm worried about, is that at some point you kill off the patient when you give them too much drugs. And if the Fed goes back to printing, I mean, that's the worry for me.